Well, hello again. I wanted to show you how my mind thinks. I think things are happening pretty quickly around here. So I was reading this again, this book, and thank you to those who shared my video. I really appreciate it. So this one here is, The Scars of Eden. And as I was reading it, I noticed the number 334. Okay, so it's talking about the mother culture, and this is where we are getting back to the feminine, and we have been brainwashed to take out the feminine. Those of us who are Protestant, we have been trained to deny Mary. I was the absolute worst of them in regard to this, and the whole the Sophia, the wisdom, all that sort of thing, the Holy Spirit, the fact that she might be a woman, and all that sort of thing is just so frowned upon from where I came from. So I mean, I could show you paintings. I will show you paintings, I'm sure, if you keep supporting me and give me comments or whatever, let me know that you want me to. I'll show you just some of the ways that I have been sabotaging my life for so long because of my total denunciation of Mary, which also means myself, my femininity, and subjugating myself under the great male. So anyway, no more of that, and this is where I'm at with this, and the fact that I believe, well, I know, I don't believe, I know, that Roosevelt, when he was visited, so if you don't know about it, you've got a bit of catching up to do, but there's plenty of videos by Paul Wallace. But if you just Google anything like Roosevelt science pact with aliens, you'll come across something that happened in 1954, I believe, don't quote me, where he went missing, and he was reported to have had an assignation with aliens, and where a deal was struck that we would allow them to abduct a certain amount of people, and in return we would be given technology that we didn't have. Now, this has been going on for a long time. This is not actually what I wanted to talk to you about. I specifically just wanted to talk about the 344, because when I saw it, I thought, yeah, that's code for something. So I'll just tell you what this is about. Okay, the descendants of the Inca of Cusco tell a story about the origins of the mother culture. Their story was relayed to Spanish linguist Juan Diaz de Bentensos in the 1550s. His narrative of the Incas described a powerful being called Viracocha, whose intervention in the story of the planet Earth parallels many of the elements of the Popol Vuh and the stories of Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl. Okay, so that's why when I back in 2012 filmed that glory cloud, one of the titles was I called it Quetzalcoatl, because I know that Quetzalcoatl is a different name for the return of God in the Holy Spirit, as in when Jesus, when the Spirit spoke out of the cloud and said, "This is my son with whom I am well pleased." And the same thing in Moses' temple, that the people were not able to go, look at God, but they saw the smoke, the fire, and they were also, in the desert, led by the smoke, this cloud, and that this cloud has this light on. So I've done lots and lots of videos of that, but conversely, I can show you books by Tom Horn, of course. Haven't got it here. It's I can't even read his I can't even read his, I wonder if I got that one, his novels, you know, but one that I've got there, it absolutely blasphemes the Holy Spirit, just goes straight out and calls Quetzalcoatl like he's some bloomin', I heard demon. I've found something here. So they built the Kuklan pyramid at Chichen Itza, so that during the spring and autumn equinox, at the rising and setting of the sun, a slithering snake-like shadow representing the Kuklan Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, would cast along the northern stairway to the serpent's head at the bottom. 60 days later, when the sun rises over the pyramid at midday, it aligns with the Pleiades again. Now, I can tell you that the month after, so this is in 2012, you know, I'm sure you know, everybody was expecting the end of the world, Apollyon rising in 2012, and it was meant to be the end of the world, yada yada. So that was when I filmed what I believe was the Glory Cloud on October, which is in the Feast of Trumpets in 2012, and then the next month there was in November, there was an eclipse in the daytime, you know, a solar eclipse. 1 month after, on the 11th, and then I think it was actually a month after, you know, I had it before the actual 21st. I think I had this dream, it wasn't a dream, in it I was just woken up in the night with the words, "You've got 30 seconds to see this," and I just looked and I just saw this sundial. I wonder if I'll be able to find it. I've shown it other ones. Yeah, the Mayan sundial, what he's describing there. And I saw this lightning bolt hit the middle and it went slithering out like the snake and came out the mouth, exactly as Tom has just described it there. And but of course we have been taught to believe that that is Satan. He says, and then we go now, I'm just opening where I find it. So this is another top page that I have highlighted. It says the designers of the city of Washington, D.C. oriented it to the sun, especially the rising sun on June 21st and December 21st. The same day and month as the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012. Well, some of you might remember that the June, because we're on opposite sides of the globe, our solstices are opposite. So your winter solstice on December 21st is our winter solstice on June 21st, and June 21st and 22nd was when I had my second death experience, right? When they were praying, you know, all the witches were together cursing Trump. This was not what I was going to talk about, but I just wanted to say that for those of you who've just recently sort of started watching me, and you know, there's just so much to catch up on as I sort of try and show you that this Apollyon that we have been taught by, you know, liars like this, which is liars like that, you know, Masons, is Satan. You know, when if you look in Revelation 9 and 20, you'll see quite clearly that he is the angel that comes, and that's what I'm saying, that this is the angel that came in, that Apollyon, Quetzalcoatl, the Shekinah glory was what I filmed in 2012 when everything started to change and God returned to his tabernacle, you know, as per like September, October, Sukkot. This is the last feasts, the feasts that Jesus did not fulfill. He fulfilled the early rain feasts. So that's where we talk about the early and latter rain. Jesus was the early rain. Okay, so that's Hosea. Okay, so that's how Jesus came to water the earth, as in Hosea 6, and now we're in the time of the latter rain. And so I'll just quickly do this again, even though I know I've done it a zillion times. And the fifth angel blew his trumpet, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to earth, and he was given the key of the shaft of the bottomless pit. He opened the shaft of the bottomless pit, and from the shaft rose smoke like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened with the smoke from the shaft. Then from the smoke came locusts with sharp needle ends. And they were given power like the power of scorpions on the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any green growth or any tree, but only those of mankind who have not the seal of God upon their forehead. Okay, can you read that? Sorry, I've been gardening. Have not the seal of God. So that's quite clear. He is not allowed to hurt anybody who belongs to God, right? And then later on, it says, in the appearance that the locusts were like horses arrayed for battle. On their heads, it looked like they had crowns of gold. Corona, anybody? I've been through the whole list of these. Their hair was like woman's hair. Nurses, anybody? And their teeth were like lion's teeth. Okay, well, they were devouring, weren't they? They were devouring mankind. And they had scales like iron breastplates. You know, the nurses have the badges, iron badges. And the noise of their wings was the noise of many chariots with horses rushing into battle. Well, that's exactly what it was like, wasn't it? It was just the whole world, just, you know, everything was put into this great attack. They have as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon. Now, Apollo, it's why I call Trump Apollo. You know what his apartment looks like, you know, and people have criticised him for that because it's a shrine to the god Apollo. Okay, so, and there's a reason for that. Okay, so then I will take you there, and then, so it talks about the plague, and then I'll take you and show you that 20 is exactly the same. It says, then I saw an angel. So angels and stars are interchangeable in the Bible. I'm sure you know that by now. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to the bottomless pit. Okay, there it is. And he seized the dragon, that ancient serpent who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the pit, and shut it and sealed it over him, so that he could deceive the nations no more. Okay, so pretty clear that he cannot be this bad guy that all the churches, Skywatch TV, and they all, you know, get into. I mean, I've been watching today Trey Smith, and I always, you know, used to get so irritated by the way he had this staccato voice. The minute you think he was going to say something, then he would just go all staccato on you, and you have to say, oh, what did he say? You know, and when I saw today him doing a question and answer, somebody actually said, there was one person thinking amongst the lot, saying, so obviously he needed some extra money from after Christmas, so he, you know, gets on there and captivates all the Christians who don't know their Bible, and he says, you know, but he wasn't at all staccato, and you know, and some person said, oh, I thought this was meant to be a question. Question and answer. Clickbait. This is just you telling us something. You're just sitting there telling us everything. Oh, somebody's got their brain in action. Yes, that's right. So, need a few more, and I believe that that is exactly what this is all about, and this is what this phenomenon is all about, and it's getting people to stop trusting these liars. They're exactly the same ones as in Jesus's time, the goblin men who make all the money out of selling religion. So, but God wants you. Jesus said, you have you have need for no one to teach you. My Holy Spirit will teach you. So, what I wanted to say was, when I saw that back to the 344, I realised this is to do with my, the video I did yesterday about Ernest Shackleton's ship, because what happened at the same time, and many of you hopefully will remember that when Trump was elected, on the 2 nights after his election, after I filmed that first big flash, the Sirius exploding, I heard through the night something huge was going to happen on Monday, and it was a 7.9 earthquake, and John Kerry had just come back from Antarctica, and he tried to get our then Prime Minister to recommit to the Five Eyes spying on Trump deal that they had, but our Prime Minister John Key, that's enough for him, even though he was one of those fake Jews, and so he flew the coop, and so that's how we ended up getting Jacinda, Jab Cinder. So she was the one after, forerunner of Obama, which is spoken of as the second beast. So she was the second beast that actually did the mandates. She actually was the first one, and she came speaking, as it says in the book, speaking like a lamb, but she has the, she was pretending to be the sweet lamb, and but she was a lion. I think that's the word for it. So that's in Revelation 12. Look it up. So anyway, back to 16th of July. So when I saw that 344 there and talking about the return of the whole mother love thing, which I think, this is what this is about, is this the woman lying on the back of the lion. So the lion is the masculine, and now we're going back to the feminine, and that's what Melania also represents. And I believe also that she represents the woman, the woman Maria. That when Eisenhower had his meeting with the aliens, there were at least 2 types, and they talk about that in this book. He talks about that there's actually a council, of these rulers, and I believe that that's where we're at. And at Antarctica, the HITLE man, as shown in a lot of Robert Seffer videos, was given the technology, the saucer technology, and I think I've got that book here, flying saucers. So he did not lose the war at all. He lost this. He decided to lose, the overt part. No, it's not that one. But they had already gone down to Antarctica, and so that was the whole. That was Robert Admiral Byrd, sent an expedition down there. So you can just Google any of this, say, Byrd, BYRD, Antarctica, and you'll find out about all these incredible things that happened just after the word Admiral Byrd, okay, and you'll find out the technology that's down there. So that's why I found it really ridiculous when Jacinda Ardern, just before she stood down, she also happened to go down to Antarctica, and she was reading the book Shackleton, and you know what, and she had like 2 attempts. You know, the first one, soon as the first plane, you know, the first attempt failed because of weather, you know, it was like, you've got to start looking, you know, for just the catchwords, because nothing that's left of the news is true, and it never was, you know, or not for since the war. But they'll just be putting out these messages, and that is the significance. So when I saw her on the plane with her boyfriend, and she's reading the book Shackleton, even though, you know, she's well known that, you know, said that she knows all about Shackleton, I knew that meant shackles, that she was in shackles, and that, you know, she had been taken as part of this, the operation that has been going on. So anyway, so today also, when Jimmy Carter died, I was trying to remember, you know, what sequence that he had, because in second address, when I talk about second address 5-6 on, where it clearly talks all about this lion, the lion that comes down from the forest and taxes these kings. You know, so there were, it names the kings. It talks about this world power that becomes the worst of all, okay? And it names all the kings, and I just happened to find it, so that's why I just happened to see that, so I just thought, right. Where was it? It was here. So this lion comes down from the forest, right, and he starts taxing. So the lion is a president, and he starts taxing, you know, accusing the eagle wings, which are the other presidents, their sins, telling them how corrupt they are. And so 2 Ezra 12:13 says, "The days are coming when the world will be ruled by an empire more terrible than any before. It will be ruled by 12 kings, one after another. The second to come to the throne will have the longest reign of all." Okay, so we're talking here. Roosevelt had 4 terms. So this all happened after the war. And that's when the Federal Reserve was set up. So that's the Goblin Men, when the J.O., you know, the fakey ones, took over. And Franklin, says, yeah, so he was the 32nd president. The 3 heads, the greatest, will die in agony in his bed. Well, that was obviously, I think, the photograph that Trump showed Bush, you know, of Daddy Bush at that funeral, and you'll all remember the crinkled flag and the look of shock on Laura and Jeb's face and everyone. They couldn't believe, you know, that, because even though he had an agonizing disease that kept him in a lot of pain, obviously there was something else happening to him on his deathbed. And but then we have, it's got 2 of them will come and go just before the middle of the period. Okay, so we've got Obama, Bush, Clinton, and Carter. So 2 of them would come and go, 4 held back. So that's the 4, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Carter. And it says 2 will come and go just before the middle of the period. What does come and go mean? You know, just into power, you know, come into power and out of power, you know. Then we've got 3 head. So there's 3 heads. Bush, Clinton, and Obama are the heads, okay? And then it says that, it says here that 1, as for the greatest head which you saw disappear, it signifies one of the kings who will die in his bed, but in great agony. The 2 that survived will be destroyed by the sword. One of them will fall by the sword of the other. So that's, I'll be waiting for you know, Clinton to, or Obama to dob the other one in. Of the other, who himself will fall by the sword in the last days. As for the two little wings that went over on the right side. This is what they mean. They are the ones whom the Most High has reserved until the last days, and their reign, as you saw, was short and troubled. Well, that's obviously the last two fake presidents. As for the lion, which you saw coming from the forest, roused from sleep and roaring, which you heard addressing the eagle, taxing it with its wicked deeds and words, this is the Messiah, whom the Most High has kept until the end. Okay, he will address those rulers, taxing them openly with their sins, their crimes, and their defiance. He will bring them alive to judgment. He will convict them and then destroy him. Okay, but he will be merciful to those of my people that remain, all who have been kept safe in my land, and he will set them free and give them gladness until the final day of judgment comes. Praise the Lord. Okay, if you haven't got one of those, you can actually read it online, but as I'm trying to show you, get off the screen. The actual blue light is what is making us fat, and it's just killing us. So, if you go and look at my video about, will this video be taken down? It's like, that one there, that will introduce you to Jack Cruz, a brain surgeon who will show you that is how they have been destroying us and making us fat. Why Americans are so fat, that all the lights, it's all to do with the lights, and that's why they're dimming the sun. Okay, have I transgressed or what? Okay, 6th of July 2019, right? These were the dreams which I found yesterday, which are the ones that I said. 60. I was standing behind the crowds at the 4th of July celebration in Wellington. When I say that, I say that's what it looked like, because I don't know. In Washington. When they all became a sea of red, as it did, and held hands and prayed. Okay, that never happened before. Just like they did at the recent rally he had. I felt the power of connection as it happened. Thought about moving closer, but I knew I couldn't. So I just stood there enjoying the moment. People were on the streets waiting for the newspapers to come out, but they were late. The people were asking what had happened to the newspapers, and I remembered something I had seen happen to them in the States, and realised it was happening here too. Something had happened to stop the newspapers. Then it was dark and people were running to get home. Okay, so that was what I talked to you about yesterday. But something has occurred to me. I'll just take you now to the 3:44. First of all, I'm going to take you to today's news. So what occurred to me, and isn't it funny that I remember this? So I was just thinking today about how the Notre Dame, Princess Kate did not go, and all the silly nonsense that we've seen. I don't know if you've seen these stupid films that they're putting out with the children in the forest, and it's obviously a fake Kate. And then, the way she got cancer and Charles got cancer and all the rest of it. And the fact that, like, Charles and Camilla, why didn't they go to Notre Dame? Aren't they important enough, or isn't it important enough for them? So obviously a lot of things are happening in the background, and William went on his own. And when Trump got up and said, this one's a good one, and everyone said, oh, Trump loves, royal family, Trump did it, and all that, and he's talking about William being a good one. Any of you who would have seen it would know that William was subjugating himself to Trump, that Trump is the king around here, and William, goes in and straightens his tie before he sort of gives obeisance to Trump. And Trump is obviously the one in charge, and William has been quite happy to step down and to go, and this confirms dreams I had ages ago where, there were 4 kings sitting together and they were never going to be there. But what occurred to me today, because a couple of days ago I actually dreamt about Camilla, and I was going to give her some important information, and I believe that information is, I've had enough. This whole thing here, about us being seeded by the, that we were, I wouldn't say created, but that we, at certain times, is what they are saying, is that ETs, when we have needed to rise, ETs have come and given us a hand, right? And that is what, oh, here it is. This little dream here. So I did this one in the loo one night, long time ago. 2 people, one young, one older, that's talking about generations, I believe, in a room with 2 couches. That's 2 resting places like the church, so there's 2 different sheepfolds, the church, Jews and the Gentiles. A block of flats high up with nowhere to run. They were being pursued, this is the people, the children, and feared for their lives. But when their pursuers arrived, they found all they wanted was to set up a school. They brought young herb plants, and I went over to one and I can't quite work that word, of the herbs, and touching one said, "Thank you." In other rooms, machines were being rewired to take the new voltage, and I asked if I should, I asked if I should have mine, or I can't, maybe you can work that out. In the night, I'm on the loo, and I haven't got my glasses on, so it's like trying to write. I asked if mine should be also, so if my voltage needed to be changed. And this was the thing that I was going to tell Camilla, that, but I didn't want to tell anyone, but I said, look, I've got something really important to tell you. And in my dream, I was talking to, I could hear alien, I won't say aliens, because he says that we're not aliens, and we're not to think of them as aliens, but as the Elohim, as the ones that actually created us, that the fake JEWs have changed this to be one God, I've known it for ages, of course. When it talks about Elohim, that is plural, okay, so it's talking about the powerful ones who came from somewhere else, but then there's also the other ones on the Sky Council. So basically everything you've seen on your, with your grandkids on the Star Wars is exactly pretty much true. But this here, so this is, we got the 344 voltage, and it's talking about the feminine. So I just remembered Jacinda. So when she went down south, okay, can you just hold that thought a minute? God, I don't want to take anything off because I don't want to forget anything. So back to Camilla. Now, Camilla, I don't know how many of you know this, you can easily look it up. Camilla was Charles's first love, right? But she obviously is not one of the that bloodline. We have got the whites, the beautiful blonde-haired Nordics, who I believe are associated with my Ark of Arcturus. So in the movies, you'll see them as Arcturians. They're blue. So any of you that saw that film with all the blue people, I probably can't remember. I never saw it, of course. And they were, they were the good ones, and the people were like the evil ones. And what was it called? James Cameron. I remember who built it, but not the Avatar. So that's pretty much how it went down, and that the reason that they all look the same is because they have got over their ego, and that we are here to get over our ego, to get to the point where we love enough to not go and get other people's channels taken down just because they say something nasty about you. Not that they did, they're just trying to tell you the truth. When we stop trying to exert our will, our religion, our beliefs on other people, and that's what Jesus was like. He didn't come to set out a new religion. He came to teach us how to love one another, and that's why it was so important when Trump was elected that the second night that I heard after the Kaikoura earthquake, I heard the word Shema all through the night and was told not to forget it, Shema. And then I looked it up the next day and found it's that prayer, Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one Lord. And that also then takes you to the point that the Lord is one Lord, that he is one, that we are one, that we are part of him as one. I won't repeat myself there. But it's all to do with a frequency. But I'm just going to now show you here this of Camilla. So if you will remember how, so we have all been, Prince Philip makes a rare public appearance to hand over patronage to Camilla. Okay, that's interesting, especially considering he was 99 years old. Prince Philip, the 99-year-old husband of Britain's Queen Elizabeth, made a rare public appearance on Wednesday to hand over his patronage of the rifles to Prince Charles's wife, Camilla, after 67 years of association with the infantry regiment. A former naval officer, renowned for his sometimes brusque manner and humour, Philip, and who I don't know if you remember, said that if he would like to come back as a virus and kill off most of the humans. 5 years before she became queen, he is now by far the longest serving consort of any British monarch. Okay, Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has been Colonel-in-Chief of the Rifles since its formation in 2007, but his connection to the regiment stretches back to 1953, as he has served as Colonel-in-Chief of successive regiments which make up the Rifles. Okay. In a ceremony at Windsor Castle, west of London, 4 buglers announced Philip's arrival, then sounded the "No More Parades." Okay, can you see that? No More Parades call to mark his final ceremony as Colonel-in-Chief. Camilla wasn't even there. She was a long way away. So, yeah. What was interesting when I opened it up was actually a story about Carter's death today. So I thought that was interesting. So that is why, I realised, or that wasn't why I realised it. I realised that just thinking about the Greys and the Nordics and the whole woman thing, and then remembering Jacinda, who was neither. I won't go into that because I might have the channel taken down. But I looked up the 344 frequency because I had remembered, so now I'll just go in there. Jacinda, Antarctica. Hopefully I can get the right one. Jacinda, Antarctica. And it's just so funny because here she is, and it was just after this, when she came back, first of all she had the climate change and starts talking about 344 million. And I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. So, okay, there it says 350 million. So trust me, okay, there you go. That was what I said. The Shackleton, got the picture there of the Shackleton. Hot. Okay, look at that. Okay, don't tell me that Q's not. And he's hooked on, and she's reading Shackleton. So yeah, she's in shackles, and he's hooked. Okay, the pirates poaching perfect fish, hooked. Okay, so that wasn't the one, of course. I'll just go to this one here. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says Antarctica is increasingly contested. Okay, here comes my darling. This is, hello, Nico. Nico, say hello. Okay, here we go. Oh. She landed on the continent on Wednesday evening after a failed attempt on Tuesday. The Antarctic Treaty, to which 54 countries are a signatory, confirms the area should be used for peaceful purposes. Her trip comes, the government has committed $344 million to redeveloping Scott Base, a project expected to be finished in 2028. $344 million. You've got to be kidding me. And here she has, you've got the pictures of her in this old bloomin' hut. You know, hopefully that's not what they are. But I just thought it was quite amazing because this, the movie that I took, so here she is there in Shackleton's poor little hut. And then she starts talking about talks about, where is it? 344, and she starts talking about introducing the children what do you call it, that oh golly, can't find it. Virtual reality. Oh, there it is. Hillary's Hut virtual reality tour, and that's what she started talking about. That that's what they would like to invest in New Zealand. That the children should learn through virtual reality. So I thought that was rather interesting, so that was your 344. And so when I'm reading this, and I thought, where have I heard that number? And so I went and had a look at it, and lo and behold, yes, there, 344 MHZ wireless frequency explorer. This is the military radio, frequency chart pitch 344 hertz, wireless frequency explorer wavelength. So that's where we are, what we're using now, but back then what we're talking about in the time of the woman, it was a 334. And you read in here, it's amazing. It goes through all the measurements. It says here, Maria Sholton was also able to identify the unit of measurement employed by this forgotten Andean mother culture. The Andean unit was 334 times the units of today's metric system. The unit for cloth and ceramics was 3.3 centimetres. For buildings, it was 3.34 metres. For distance, it was 3.34 kilometres. The significance of this correlation is that it confirms for us the Andean mother culture. And so that is what I think, the battery's running out, the significance of Philip, who hated Camilla, handing over that, regiment to him, even though he was very sick man at this time, would not go out at all. And it was during the lockdown, and she was way up north, I think way up in Scotland somewhere, could not they could not be together, but it was so important. And I believe it was because it was to do with the no more regiments. It was a signal for no more wars, because now the women are in charge. And if we just go quickly back to Camilla, I just want to think about the whole, and I believe it was, they were young love, we hate her, we've been taught to hate her, and even him, he could actually be the second Ezra, the king unwelcome to the world succeeds to the throne, because we're just not paying any attention to him at all, and hence, that he wasn't even at Notre Dame, but he chose love, and that's the whole thing, even though, and I believe it is probably going to come out that they had a love child way back then, and that guy in Australia is Charles's first child, and that, but they were not allowed to marry. So because she was not of the right blood, the reptilians, she, it was fine for her, and her grandmother, I think it was her grandmother or great-grandmother, was actually a mistress to the king, that was fine, but no marriage. And so I think that is what's happened to Kate, that she is of that line, that bloodline, and her family are so entrenched in it, so it's the whole Romeo and Julia, Capulet thing, where the actual loyalties to that reptilian race, that they cannot. That's why those fake JEWs are trying to water down all the other bloods around the world, the whole, melting pot. What we need is a great big melting pot, trying to get mixed races everywhere, because they know that whole genetic thing that, I won't say that because you know what I'm talking about. It's what the H-man was into, that your spiritual power comes from, the strength of your lineage. But of course they want to destroy that for everyone except themselves. Okay, so I think I've got my message across to you, quite a few of them. Look up the sky, it's going to happen. Everything that is happening with the, the drones and what have you, Trump and Elon are so excited because, finally all the secrets, that we are not alone, all that is going to be revealed. But Christians especially, you guys are really going to be targeted and find it the hardest, because you've been so brainwashed into just believing that Jesus was the only Messiah, even though we had, Moses, Joseph, who else, Abraham. All these, Messiah just means somebody who comes and saves their people. And of course, what more could Trump be, and even the H-man, and even Putin, so this is where we're at. So please, think about Camilla, and that's where I'm at, is that, we've got to just really learn to love and understand, everything they feed us, and what it was like for Charles and Camilla, to be forced, for Charles to be forced to marry Diana, but we were just taught, that, that Camilla was evil. And I think that is why Trump, said, he's a good one, is because he loves his father enough, to accept Camilla, to understand the situation and still love his father, and know that love is the most important thing. And anyway, that's me done for the day. Have I finished everything? I think there's just something else there niggling away. Because that's what it is. Love the Lord your God, with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. That was the Shema. That's the significance of Trump, and why so many Christians hate him, because they judge him as an immoral man, just like they judged King David, who Trump comes in the spirit of King David. He was an immoral man. Well, Trump hasn't killed anybody yet, as far as I know, and I know that he hasn't. And he's hasn't started any wars either. And so that's the significance of that regiment being given over to the hated one, to the Queen, who they won't let be Queen. But anyway, so that's it. And because the next thing that Jesus said when he came, he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and your might. And the second commandment is this: love your neighbour as yourself. And that is where, well, how we become one of those blue, the wonderful blue, I wonder if I can get it on my, where we have no ego, where we just absolutely love, and not in the way that we've been taught to love. And Arcturians, okay, you know it. You don't want to look at the side of my head. I bless you all, and hope you're doing well, and hope that was a blessing to you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.